Hey gang, thanks for sticking with our channel all season long. My name is Chris. We've grown a lot this season. That's thanks to you. You know, we've also asked very little of you. I'm going to ask something now. Would you please subscribe to the channel? We have plans in the off season, but if you're not subscribed, you won't see the stuff that we'll be up to. We will have some NFL draft content. We'll review film on key players. Basically, we're going to keep the channel going. It would help so much if you'd take 5 seconds and hit the subscribe button. We thank you for that. All right, so here we go. We're going to count down my top 10 wide receivers for fantasy football 2020, with the caveat, of course, that things do change in the offseason. There are many ways you could go at the back end of the top 10. I'm going with DJ Moore, the Panthers receiver. Let's get some fresh blood in a list that, let's face it, probably going to have a ton of other new names. Moore's numbers through 14 games, really good. 86 catches, 1,174 yards, only 4 touchdowns, which has held him back a little bit. But I'm stuck on his game. I love it. Watch him a couple of weeks ago get a release off the line. In just year 2, we're already talking about a polished, difficult-to-contain receiver who has defensive backs' heads spinning, to say nothing of really good hands and speed and toughness. And remember, he's done all this year without competent quarterback play. Sure, I could put Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Lockett, any number of regular names at this spot. But this is a vote that DJ Moore will join the list of second or maybe early third round draft picks who will pay off in 2020. Plus, I hear his brother BJ Moore works at DraftKings. So there's that. At number 9, I have Amari Cooper at the moment. And I've just recently done a way too early bust list on the podcast, and Cooper made that list for me. And here's why. He's really good. I don't think he's going to be garbage next year. I kind of worry, though, that he's going to be a first-round pick in many leagues. I worry that he'll be considered in the same breath as the true elites at the position, and that's where I have to part company. I think Amari Cooper carries way more week-by-week risk than the top guys at the position. Feels like he's always banged up, or there's always something questioning his effort, or, that's the week the Cowboys decide to run it 100 times. I mean, if you were relying on Cooper in your fantasy semifinals this year, week 15 against the Rams, he got you 1 catch for 19 yards. The route running talent is obvious. I assume he'll get a new deal, and Dak Prescott will as well. They'll probably have a new head coach who hopefully can unlock consistency with both those guys. I'm not calling Cooper bad. I just don't view him as top 5, and I think the market might. My early guess is that my draft slot for him will be around lower than his ADP. What to do with the Buccaneers receivers? Going to be a huge story this winter. I put Mike Evans at number 8, and I don't have Chris Godwin on this list. I 100% admit I was dead wrong on Godwin this summer. And if Jameis Winston winds up staying in Tampa, there's reason to consider both of those Bucs receivers for a top 10 list. This was just a weird outlier kind of offense in 2019. Tops in passing yards, second in pass attempts, tops in attempts that traveled 20 plus yards, obviously tops in interceptions. If there was a way to harness the good in Jameis and have him bomb in the way that Bruce Arians likes to bomb, in the good way, without the constant stream of the other kind of bomb, head-clutching interceptions, sure, we'd be onto something. For the purposes of this list, I've assumed the Bucs will gather up some sanity and start over at quarterback and maybe in their front office. If that's the case, while Godwin is really talented and will continue to be a big fantasy asset, Evans probably reasserts control in a slightly less high-volume pass attack. Evans is streaky. He's also one of the 2 or 3 most feared downfield receiving weapons in the league. Just a natural, tall, fast burner. Definitely has concentration lapses here and there, but rarely goes more than a few games without winning you a week on his own. It's gift-giving time, but what about a gift for yourself? The gift of an Audible membership for a limited time. Audible's offering more than half off your first 3 months. Access an unbeatable selection of audiobooks, including, for example, one of my 4 novels that I've written and read, available on Audible right now. When you're a member, you can choose 3 titles every month, 1 audiobook and 2 exclusive Audible originals you can't hear anywhere else. Audible is great while commuting, great at the gym, during your holiday travels. Right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. It's a great deal, more than half off the regular price. Give yourself the gift of listening. For more, go to audible.com/HarrisTube or text HarrisTube to 500-500. Okay, back at it at number 7, I have Odell Beckham. Please address your hate mail to the yacht, care of the possum. Listen, I know, ugly, ridiculous, and of course, this is a placeholder rank. It's been a terrible season. Will Beckham still be in Cleveland? Will Freddie Kitchens still be in Cleveland? I'd guess both of them might be on the way out the door. Honestly, this rank is more based on ODB getting a fresh start away from the insane Browns dysfunction. If he bounces back next year, well, it'll be easy to tell ourselves the story that, he had a sports hernia, he was never quite right, the Browns knew it, they didn't want to tax him, it was weird play calling from Kitchens, and, he's age 28, for heaven's sake. If he comes back and recaptures what we all know he can do, nobody's going to be surprised. Free Odell. If the entire cast does return to Cleveland for another go-round, including the head coach, I'm going to admit it to you right now. Keeping Beckham at number 7, probably a bridge too far for me. I want him somewhere else. Once you display years' worth of incredible playmaking talent, you own that playmaking talent. It didn't vanish forever. But yeah, in Cleveland, something is wrong with this current combination of humans. Now we're working ourselves into the elites, the guys I feel pretty confident about. 2019 was the year of Golladay. Kenny Galladay's number 6. Finally, the production started matching the excitement I've been expressing to you the past couple of years. Golladay has been without Matthew Stafford since week 9, yet he's still 56 catches, 1,052 yards, 10 touchdowns. And 7 of those touchdowns came in the first half of the season with Stafford, who'll be back healthy next year. Galladay's just good. He's prime A.J. Green. Not the fastest, but fast for his size. The body control, the hands, sort of the pure uncoverable breadth of him. He's a nasty beast whose days of discount are over. We are talking about a second-round pick in all leagues. And he has to deliver with big expectations. But if you're looking for someone to watch film and tell you that Golladay isn't going to do that, consider who you're talking to. I am the Golladay cheerleader. I do. I think he will live up to his lofty billing in 2020. Julio Jones is number 5 for me. And what are the risk factors? I mean, I think it's probably about age, right? In 2020, that's going to be his age 31 season. And you saw this year when he fell on that shoulder and hobbled through a few games. He didn't exactly shimmer when your fantasy team needed him. But then he decided to have, 20 targets against the 49ers last week, break his touchdownless streak, win a bunch of semifinal games on his own. There will surely come a day when Julio loses half a step and won't be able to terrify defenders as he's done for 9 seasons, but I think Sunday proved we are not there yet. Calvin Ridley's really good too. Is there a world where the baton gets passed as soon as next year? I don't know why it would happen after this season when Julio still looked great. I just don't really see a world. Touchdowns can be an issue with him, but how does Julio not get the 1,300 yards that he gets every year? At number 4, I have Tyreek Hill, the fastest player in the NFL, and as much as he was a source of consternation this summer, I mean, it's not that fun to play his sound drop on the podcast anymore. You could actually make the argument that he's got a chance to be undervalued in 2020 since he missed 4 games with a collarbone injury and then missed most of another game after hurting it again. All the rules that we were told about Hill after his breakout in 2017, stat-wise, there's no way. The touchdown rate has to go down. The big play rate, no way. He's not going to make that many big plays. He was such a candidate for regression. That is where slavish adherence to numbers serves us poorly because it ignores who the player is himself. And Hill just is an unguardable speed demon. Play him man, play him zone, put a safety over the top. He's so quick, he's so fast, he's going to get open. If anything, it's easy to argue the Chiefs don't obsess with throwing it to him enough, but I think that's partly because he's been hurt and partly because they're saving him for when it really matters. We'll see. I think Hill is a strong candidate to once again approach 1,500 yards next year. Right now, I think there are 4 first-round fantasy wideouts. I think Hill belongs as a first-round pick, and that's true for the last 3 guys I'll talk about here as well. Number 3, I have Davante Adams, whose season-long totals will wind up also, like Hill, being crushed a little bit by a toe injury. Kept him out of action for 4 games. But when he's in there this year, he's practically the only receiver that Aaron Rodgers trusts. Since Adams' return in Week 9, he's one of a handful of wideouts averaging double-digit targets per game. I think the rest of that receiving core stinks, and Adams gets a ton of defensive attention, and it doesn't matter. He gets open against double coverage all the time. The fact that he's stuck on 4 touchdowns, I think it's bad luck. The last 3 seasons before this one, Adams combined for more touchdowns than every receiver in the league besides Antonio Brown, who, no, he's not going to be on this list. Adams is a beast after the catch. He's an alpha. I think he's a first-rounder next year. My number 2 receiver for 2020 was my number 1 this year, DeAndre Hopkins. Just the angriest, toughest, handsiest killer out there. His footwork, his body control, they're legendary. He even said it himself this past week after the Texans beat the Titans. Everybody knows where the ball's going sometimes in big spots, and they just can't do anything to stop it. It's funny, all 3 of my top wideouts, none time out as the most elite in terms of speed. None are 6'5" Calvin Johnson-esque specimens. They're all big, but not the biggest. They all produce really, really safe numbers, and they all give you huge booms on a regular basis. In Hopkins' case, it's an almost impossible level of want to. These past 3 seasons for Hopkins have delivered at such high volume and such great highlights. Can't wait to see what he does for an encore in 2020. But boy, it's hard not to embrace Michael Thomas at number 1, isn't it? He's going to set the single-season record for catches. He's a great route runner despite a lack of elite athletic traits. Nobody came out of his combine saying, oh my God, Michael Thomas, greatest specimen. He's a second-round pick, basically aspired to be Marcus Colston. He sure is better than Marcus Colston. The only thing, probably, that keeps Michael Thomas from being the first receiver off the board in all leagues next year is if Drew Brees were to decide to hang him up. Maybe the Saints win the title and Brees walks into the sunset, and that would probably give us pause, although I seem to recall Teddy Bridgewater being under center for 5 starts this year. In those 5 games, Thomas had 42 catches, 551 yards, and 3 touchdowns. By NFL wideout standards, Thomas is actually straight line slow. It doesn't matter. He's precise, smart, has incredible hands, and is a vicious open field runner. In 2019, we probably could have sold as many as 7 or 8 guys as the first receiver off the board. Right now, especially if Brees keeps playing, hard to think anyone's going to have anyone other than Michael Thomas number 1 for 2020. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.